Hello, my name's Sue Lewis. I'm just going to run you through a few things about how you can do some housekeeping on Careerpilot at the start of the academic year. So number one, what's happened to all your year groups is they've actually moved up in the system. So if they were year 10 last year, they're now shown as year 11. But that isn't the case for any groups you created yourself. So I'm just going to kind of explain how that works. So to look at all the groups you've got set up on the system, on the dashboard in the reporting zone, remember you need an admin login to get into the reporting zone, and you can request that from the Careerpilot helpline. So if you go to groups and click, you'll see all the groups you've got set up in the system. When students register, they put themselves in a year group, so they're always in a year group. And what we do on August the 31st is we move them up 1 year. So if they were in year 10 last year, it will now say they're in year 11. So you can see that here. So there's my year groups, and year 12, I've got 68 students, and last year, before August the 31st, they would have been shown as year 11. But anything I've set up myself, these are the other groups, which might be things like tutor groups or your pathway planner groups, if you're doing the pathway planner, will be things you named yourself. So the system doesn't recognize a text box and can't kind of move up 12 NREPP. So you have to change the label on that group. So all you have to do is if you go to the actions on the other side, the middle icon, which is edit, open that up, and if they're now year 13, you can call them 13 NREPP. So the other group titles you have to change yourself, but the year groups will be moved up automatically through the system. If you need to set up a new group, just a reminder about that. So again, you go to groups, manage groups, and then you can set up a new group, and this will pop up. You can name that group. If you're a pathway planner school using the pathway planner with that group, you can switch that on for them. If you are a pathway planner group, you can also assign a careers advisor. You don't have to do that if you're not a pathway planner school. Then you can filter the year group you want to add to that particular group you've set up and click on the students you want to choose to put in that tutor group perhaps. And hopefully you've set up administrators already, so they're in your list on the right hand side, and administrators are people like teachers or tutors. And because I want my Cahill to look at this group, I'm giving him permission to see this group called 11 SLPP. So first of all, I would say, obviously your students need to be registered, get your staff registered, and then when you're setting up a group, you can kind of put it all together in that one place. Don't forget to save. Another thing you might want to do at the beginning of the year is move students out of your school. So you don't delete them from the system because they own their account until they're 20. So if they moved on to a college or another environment, they can actually take that account with them. But probably you don't want to see them in your list. So what you do is go to students from the dashboard, from the reporting zone. And this is when you're going to see a list of all your students, and you can sort them by year group. So you might want to sort any student who is now showing as year 14, for example, or any student who was in year 11 is now shown in year 12, but they've actually moved on to a college. So you can sort the list. Then you will want to pick an individual student, and you do have this, but do this by individual. If you click on the edit tool here, that'll open up their personal profile in the site about their account. And what you're going to do is manage them. Oh, sorry. If you go manage student school details, then you have some options. So this is a way to say they're not in my school any longer. If you don't know which school they've gone to, you can just click this box and save, and then they'll be taken off your list. If you do happen to know which school they've gone to, and they are a Careerpilot school, and if you click on the drop down, you'll see if that school is there, then you can choose that and then save. So you can either say, I don't know which school they've gone to, save, or I do know which school they've gone to, choose it, and then save. And then they won't appear on your list anymore. Just a reminder how you can add new administrators. So that's staff, any staff members you want to add. So again, from that dashboard, this time you're going to go to the button called administrators, and you'll see who you've already got set up there. And again, you can't delete an administrator, so you'd have to tell the central career pilot team. So if you get in touch with careerpilot@bath.ac.uk, that's the helpline, and Joe will be able to take your your administrators off if they're no longer with you. To set up a new administrator, just go to new user, and then you can put in their details, first name, last name, their email address, and then you give them a role. And if you're not a Pathway Planner school, there are two roles to choose. One is to just be a teacher, and then you assign that teacher to the groups you want them to see. In the way I showed you earlier, you can set up a group or a whole year group. You can choose to add the teacher to see the whole year 11 or the whole of a tutor group that you've set up. But you do need to assign them to a group, otherwise they won't be able to see anything. You can also create a level of access which is called school admin, which you probably got yourself. And this is the highest level of access where you can see all students, set up reports, set up staff. So you want to be cautious about who you give that role to, but it might be appropriate to give somebody that level of access. If you're a Pathway Planner school, there is another level of access called Careers Advisor. But if you've been on the training, you should know all about that. So only choose that one if you're a Pathway Planner school. Just to remind you, I mentioned the Pathway Planner there, so I just want to run through that quickly with you because this is now free to nearly all the schools in the Southwest, quite a lot in the Southeast, and if you're paying your own subscriptions, it'll be free to you as well. So it's worth you knowing about it in case you won't have access to it. So basically, to give you a quick summary, we've got the 4 zones of Career Pilot, which mostly everything operates from the student zone. We've got parent zone, advisor zone, lots of lesson plans, materials, and the reporting zone. But we also have something called the Pathway Planner, which is a way of triaging the guidance needs of your students. So you can find out who's red, amber, green for the pathways they're particularly interested in. That gives you lots of data and tracking tools as well. You can book all your sessions on the system and a whole load of stuff that helps you with Gatsby 3 and Gatsby 8. Now, if you want access to the Pathway Planner, you do have to attend some training so you know how to use it. But as I said, it is free now to most schools. So just a quick flash through of the Pathway Planner. This is the model we've been using. It starts with a 1 hour lesson where the students are reminded of their next stage options. So it's a tool specifically for year 11, choosing post 16, year 12, choosing post, choosing post 18. So they're in the lesson, they'll be reminded of their next stage options. They'll have some time on Careerpilot to explore the ones they're interested in, and for the last 10 minutes, they'll complete the pathway planner. And we'll be asking them here, which pathways are you interested in? And then for the ones they're choosing, they'll do a quiz to see how ready they are for that pathway. That will give you as a school or college lots of data so you can see what pathways your students are choosing, but also see how ready they are for those pathways. And then you can assign guidance to them based on their individual needs. Everything can be tracked through the system. This is a timeline that shows from the bottom up where they started when they first used the timeline, what intervention was offered to them, in this case a long guidance session, and then where they are as a result of that guidance. And you're trying to help them to get to a good position for that next stage progression. So if you're interested in the Pathway Planner, there's lots of other things that it offers as well, which I'm not going to go through now. On the main homepage of Careerpilot, if you click on the advisor zone, then there's a whole tile which is about the Pathway Planner. There's also a tile about all the free training we offer about Careerpilot, but also about the Pathway Planner as well. So good luck with the new term, and hopefully you'll have a chance to do the housekeeping and to get your system in shape for the coming year.